Glove. Phillips has it. Throws to Eckersley in time. And the A's have won the World Series in a sweep.
The year was 1989, and the A's captured their 4th World Championship in style. It was one of the greatest lineups ever assembled as their big bats powered their way through the American League with a 99-63 record and eventually sweeping the Giants in the Fall Classic. Tonight, we celebrate this historic World Series by the Bay. A's, Giants, next. A special night at the Coliseum. The A's and their fans and their former players celebrating the 1989 World Championship season for the Athletics. 20 years ago, the A's put together a terrific lineup, a terrific pitching staff, and they took it all the way to their 4th World Series championship. We're going to have fun tonight talking about that. And tonight's ball game. It's game 2 of this 3-game series. The San Francisco Giants and the Oakland A's coming up on Comcast Sportsnet California. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's baseball. Certainly a special night here at the Coliseum. Looking back at the 1989 season, Ray, you were a part of that as a broadcaster. But those guys that are played on that team, they're going to sit back tonight, and they have a chance to watch a very special pitching matchup. Vin Mazzaro and Tim Lincecum. We saw it a couple weeks ago in San Francisco.
Absolutely, Coach. Lincecum, the National League Cy Young Award winner from last year. Vin Mazzaro's got a chance to be one in the future. He's been outstanding, making his 5th start, won his first 2, gave up a couple of runs in start number 3 against the Giants and also against the Dodgers at no decision. Outstanding pitching. It works very quickly. That hard slider down and in. 2 and 4 seam fastball. He's got everything working. And, of course, what can you say about Lincecum? The start that he made against the Athletics, he did lose against the Dodgers, but this young man can pitch. He's got the changeup, which probably fools hitters more than his fastball and his curveball. But he is a gamer. There's no question. You look at his size and wonder how he throws as hard as well as he does, but he knows how to pitch, and he's showing it every day that he takes him out for the Giants.
So Vin Mazzaro, another good challenge tonight, but what a confidence builder if you could beat the Cy Young Award winner in the National League. Well, we're looking forward to a season or a special night between Lincecum and Mazzaro.
He struck it out. 9 outs, all strikeouts.
Period. Here's our game time weather. It's brought to you by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. The admission is free. The boardwalk is open daily. It is an absolutely gorgeous night after a very warm day around the Bay Area. Tonight, 75 degrees at game time. And we are excited about nice weather in the Bay Area, and we hope that it's here to stay. Well, we're going to have a little bit of a later start time due to the pregame ceremonies honoring the players from that great 1989 World Championship team. And Ray, it was great to see that many of the players from that great team, and you could tell when those guys get together, as you always see with old teammates, they have a good time. But yeah, it's a special group here.
Mike Gagel, Lance Blankenship, and Ricky, of course, in the house, and the other Hindu, Dave Henderson. But the stew, Dave Stewart, Tony Phillips. Tony, this was a great shot here. Carly Lansford, of course, the Giants hitting coach, and saw him up in the batting cage, Mike Moore, and I said, "What do you think, Carly?" He said, I'm with the other team now, and he was hesitant about coming over, so they introduced him, and he stayed in the dugout. And I knew one guy would walk over. It's Tony Phillips. He started walking over as if to say, "Come on over here." And Carney came out and stood with the guys, and of course, Dave Stewart, the MVP of the '89 World Series, brought the ceremonial first pitch, and there it is. And see, Carter should be happy. Of course, that's maybe it's appropriate he wasn't in there because he had a Giants uniform and they haven't won one.
That's true.
That's true. Since 1954, when they were in New York, but the A's celebrating the fourth of the 4 World Championships, and I had a chance to visit with Monty Moore, the great broadcaster, and we were able to work together. And he came back in 88, 89, 90, and broadcast during the regular season, televised those games, and it was a lot of fun. And I asked Monty to compare the teams in the early 70s and late 80s, and I agree with what he said, that very similar. Great starting pitching, great relievers, the closer with Raleigh and Eckersley, the hitters, the defense, and played the game the right way. And as a result, 4 championships, 6 trips to the World Series. And the A's are hopeful that with that young man behind the plate, Kurt Suzuki, and this young team, that they can build on what the A's organization has done in the previous 40-plus years and try to get back to postseason baseball.
And we will have a chance to visit with some of the members of that 1989 team. So we're looking forward to, at least we were told he was going to come up and see us, the general manager of that team, Sandy Alderson. It'd be great to talk to Sandy about putting that team together.
The architect.
Yeah.
He put a good one together. And of course, the Haas family owned the club. And Ben Mazzaro's had to wait a few extra minutes as just approaching 7:10 right now. And the scheduled 7:05, 7:07 start. So he's been ready. Kurt Young, who was one of the members out on the line as Mazzaro was warming up, Kurt immediately went down to the bullpen to get his starting pitcher ready for this game. And no doubt very excited, as all these young players should be looking at that team in 1989, realize that was the last World Championship 20 years ago, and don't want the drought to go too long.
So Mazzaro and the A's have taken the field. Let's take a look at the Giants starting lineup. It's brought to you by McDonald's. Aaron Rowan in center, Andres Torres in left, Pablo Sandoval at third, Ben Gimelini in the cleanup spot, Travis Ishikawa with the home run last night at first base, Randy Wynn the DH, Edgar Renteria at short, Nate Scherholz right, and Matt Downs at second base. The Athletics, they look like this defensively. Holiday, Sweeney, and Cust in the outfield. Hanahan, Cabrera, Kennedy, and Barton on the infield. And you saw Kurt Suzuki behind the plate tonight.
And it will be Ben Mazzaro making his 5th start, 2-1. The first 2 wins, 13 2/3 innings without giving up a run in his major league debuts. The first 2 lost to Tim Lincecum 3-0 with the Giants. No decision against the Dodgers, with just 6 walks and 25 2/3 innings. 4 of those coming in his first start of his major league career against the Chicago White Sox. So familiarity in a sense that these two teams and these two pitchers faced the opposite numbers. The only difference, Lincecum will not face Mazzaro at the plate and vice versa. The one thing, Ben Mazzaro going to the offseason thinking that he laid down 4 perfect sacrifice bunts in the 2 games he started at National League Park.
So Aaron Rowan steps in the box, and Vin Mazzaro is just about ready to go. So game 2 of the series. Last night, a very well played game by the Athletics. They won 5-1 behind a terrific performance from Trevor Cahill. The A's will try to make it 2 in a row over the Giants. First pitch of the ball game is on the inside corner, a strike to Rowan. So the A's come in 31-38 on the year. They're 17-15 at home, and they get a little bit of momentum. They've won 3 out of their last 4.
And one thing everybody's talking about, of course, Mazzaro, his pitch selection repertoire, but in which main thing is when he gets the ball, he throws. He does not waste any time and shows quality pitches when he does.
Count stays 0-2 to Rowan. Rowan with a .303 average, 8 homers and 32 runs batted in. He was 1 for 4 last night. He had a single in the first inning leading off the ball game, and that was it.
That's your prototypical leadoff hitter. He will not take a lot of pitches. He'll stand at the plate. He's seen the one that he likes. He'll let it go.
Breaking pitch, swing and a miss by Rowan, and that's the first out of the ball game.
See Aaron Rowan shaking his head as Mazzaro faced the Dodgers. They were also very impressed with this young man, as he went 6 innings and threw 93 pitches. Probably could have gone the 7th, but in a National League park, he's lost that game to the Dodgers 3-2.
Mazzaro left that game trailing 2-1. The A's tied it and eventually lost the game. So the no decision, but another strong outing. Here he faces Andres Torres, playing left field tonight. Torres is a switch hitter.
Yeah, at times when you're seeing a starter, in the case of about 10 days, you think, well, as a starter, you have to change your pattern of pitching. Mazzaro doesn't have to do it. Neither does Lincecum. I mean, both pitchers are very good, and so you expect to see the same thing from both of them tonight that they featured in San Francisco.
2-1 to Torres, and now 3-1.
Lincecum's hair, he could play back in the 70s with the Bulls.
He's got maybe even late 60s. Strike, and now it's full count. Pablo Sandoval in the on-deck circle, just underway from the Coliseum. That's low, ball 4. Torres, very speedy runner, gets the walk.
Well, easy out of the hand of Mazzaro at 94 miles an hour. Unfortunately, out of the strike zone. 2 batters coming up now, and Sandoval and Molina will not take a lot of pitches.
So Sandoval, another switch hitter. The Giants have 3 switch hitters in their lineup.
Sure, it's not Nick Swisher getting the plate.
No.
I mean, Sandoval is all over the place like Swish.
Sandoval, .336 average, 3rd best in the National League. Behind David Wright and Juan Pierre. Sandoval had a double last night. He was 1 for 4. You see the A's play him toward left center field. He will spray the ball all over the ballpark.
You see the sun, Jack Cush in right field, still in the sun. He'll be there for an inning or so. But reunion of the '89 World Championship. That's exactly the way it looked in 1989. 2 games played here in Oakland with the sun. Indian summer of October 1989, and the best month, and the temperature is about the same.
Yeah, beautiful. 2-0.
He's got to concentrate on Sandoval because he's a good hitter. Can't worry too much about the runner at first base and try to quick pitch.
Benji Molina waits in the on-deck circle. Torres is a pretty good base stealer, and that's hit fair down the left field line. Torres can run. Holiday digs it out against the wall, and they're going to wave home Torres. Here comes Cabrera still to the plate, not in time. Sandoval's going to go all the way to third. Tim Flannery took a chance, and it worked. So Sandoval just inside the bag at third. It's a double and an RBI, third on the throw.
And the throw from Cabrera went to the pitcher Mazzaro backing up, and it might have been he didn't know who to throw to. This ball out of the strike zone, just sliced inside the line, and the throw coming in picked up cleanly by Matt Holliday, but look at the throw. Not even close to the catcher Kurt Suzuki.
Here's Benji Molina. Now the infield comes in. How about that, Ray? That has something to do with, I think, your starting pitching matchup. Huh?
There's no doubt.
So Sandoval, that's his 22nd double of the year. He's among the league leaders in that category.
Last night Trevor Cahill did a great job in his situation with man at third and less than 2 outs. And Ben Mazzaro needs a strikeout or a ground ball. Cahill was perfect. 7 innings, just 1 run, 4 hits.
You know, watching the game last night, watching Trevor Cahill. Let's watch this play for him.
He was going to score, especially with his speed, and especially considering the throw and how offline it was.
High fly ball right center. That's going to be plenty deep. Cuss fighting the sun. Sweeney calls him off. Makes the catch. Sandoval comes in to score. So Benji Molina does his job. A sacrifice fly. That is his 41st RBI of the year. And the Giants take a 2-0 lead.
Well, amazingly, he was able to hit it as deep as he did, considering he was fooled badly on the pitch. It just shows the power of Benji Molina, his ability to make contact, especially with 2 strikes.
So 2 outs, and here's Travis Ishikawa. It was a quiet night offensively for the Giants last night, thanks to Trevor Cahill. Ishikawa, knocked in the only run with a home run. So Molina with the sac fly. Well, Giants have already scored more runs tonight than they did last night. Just 1 run and 4 hits last night. But I was saying about Trevor Cahill, watching him pitch last night, he looked just like Brandon Webb.
Yeah. He had more.
He did, yeah.
15 start in his major league career. He had more movement on his pitches all night than any of his previous 14.
I mean, didn't you think that was, in the whole picture, that was his best start?
There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
I mean, his fastball was diving down. His changeup looked just like his fastball, and he looked just like Brandon Webb. And we know how good Brandon Webb is.
And really, the only bad pitch he made, which was a learning experience for him, was Ishikawa. Threw him a 3-2, more or less a little bit of a sinker, but he elevated it. Ishikawa hit it out. But what he should have done, and talking to him after the game, he just said simply, throw it for a ball. If he walks it, he walks it. But look at the movement. Look at how much the pitches are moving. Down and into rolling. Struck out 4. That was a big win. A runner at third. And only 1 out. But it's almost the point. I think what Suzuki had to do, sit in the middle of the plate and just let the movement take it where it was going to go.
Swing and a miss. Ishikawa strikes out. Side retired, but a couple of runs for the Giants. So Tim Lincecum goes to work. He's got a 2-0 lead after half an inning. First coming up. Adam Kennedy will lead off for the Athletics. Tim Lincecum on the mound, and his first pitch is up and away with a fastball. So Lincecum and Mazzaro, the rematch. 2-0. Kennedy was 1 for 4 last night with a walk. And it's 3-0. So Adam Kennedy will be followed by Cust, and we'll give you the rest of the A's lineup in just a moment. 3-2. So all fastballs from Lincecum to start the game. That one had a little movement on it.
See him grab it with the seams, a two-seam fastball.
That one sliced to left field. Torres racing back, still going back, and he makes the running catch. So Torres tracks down that hard hit ball by Kennedy. Here's the rest of the A's lineup, brought to you by McDonald's. Kennedy, Cust, and Holiday, Giambi, Suzuki, Sweeney, Cabrera, Barton, and Hanahan. Of course, Matt Holliday has faced Tim Lincecum quite a bit in his career, 25 times. Defensively for the Giants, Torres, Rowan, and Scherholz in the outfield. Sandoval, Renteria, Downs, Ishikawa in the infield, and Benji Molina is the catcher.
What a good comeback for Lincecum. 3 pitches, really not that close, but came back and threw 3 in the strike zone. Maybe you should tell Laz Diaz that's a curveball.
And that's probably a pretty good pitch. Laz Diaz behind the plate. There's the changeup, and that is a nasty pitch, folks. There's a strike. And we'll show you Lincecum's numbers for the season in a moment. Obviously, very impressive. Lots of strikeouts, and he does not walk a lot of people. Fastball bends Cust out of the way. That one 94 miles an hour. Changeup rolled foul.
Lincecum, I mentioned, beat the A's 3-0 in San Francisco. Lost his last start to Los Angeles, but making his 15th of the season. 6-2. Very impressive 2.72 ERA, but the walks 26, strikeouts 112 in 96 innings. And it's only the second best in the National League with strikeouts.
Swing and a miss. Got him with a changeup. So Cust is gone. 2 outs here in the first.
Well, he could throw any of his 3 pitches anytime, any count, and that one out of the strike zone. But it's all about the delivery, the deception, and Jack sees it out of the hand as a fastball, and it comes in with the bottom dropping out of it, not in the strike zone. But it's not surprising to see hitters swing at the pitch. We were fortunate to watch Rich Harden for so many years when he was healthy, and how he was able to throw the changeup so successfully and get hitters to swing at it.
We mentioned Holiday, 8 for 25 in his career against Lincecum. Now, Lincecum may still be a little ticked off from his last start. He, I don't want to say had a game won, but he had a 3-1 lead.
Yeah.
Through 7 innings, and he was dominating. But in the 8th inning, the Angels scored 3 runs off, and he gave up 4 hits in the 8th inning, 4 hits in a row. And he ended up losing the game 4-3. And he seemed to have the game in hand, but the Angels, playing great baseball, got him in the 8th. So I imagine he was probably not terribly happy about that. He ended up taking the loss. And that was the start after his shutout of the Athletics.
4th start against the A's. No decision in the first, and the next 2 shutouts. 1-0 here with Justin Duke on the mound for the Athletics. Was an unbelievable performance by both pitchers.
High fastball. Holiday swings and misses. So a pair of strikeouts for Lincecum in the bottom of the first inning. 2-0 Giants after 1.
.877-493 ball.
I don't want to play the Rockies right now.
Oh no, absolutely not.
You know why?
Yeah,
They've won 17 out of their last 18.
And especially on the road.
Man. 17 out of 18. Rockies are in Anaheim starting a series tonight. Rockies and the Angels. No score in the second inning.
Now, Jim Tracy, what a job he's done since taking over the Rockies. An 11-game winning streak and lost one, and oh well, start another streak.
Man. Arizona has an early 4-0 lead over Texas. That game in the third inning being played down in Phoenix. The Rangers lead over the Angels is 1 in the West. Randy Wynn with a base hit to right field.
That's a hit you don't like to see a hitter get with 2 strikes with a fastball, especially after a couple of swings by Randy Wynn, but tried to go in the fastball. It stayed up. Did not have the good movement. And really, after last night, Cahill working inside perfectly the left-handers with a 2-seam fastball. And now a similar style pitcher in Lazaro tonight. Looked like Wynn might have been looking for it.
Here's Edgar Renteria. This is probably a base runner hitter situation that Bruce Bochy think about maybe putting something on. Renteria, a guy who hits the ball to right field a lot. Keep an eye on Wynn. He's got 8 stolen bases in 9 attempts. First pitch strike to Renteria.
Bochy has to be looking at the standings saying, if we were in any other division, might be in first place. It would be.
37-32. The Giants are 5 games over. That one's driven to right center, and Cuss can't get it. Bounces up against the wall. Randy Wynn is being waved home. He hits the bag, and Cabrera's throw, no throw. And the Giants have a 3-0 lead. Edgar Renteria, an RBI double.
Well, every run Tim Lincecum gets, it's going to be harder to overtake because he is good. And that fastball Looks like the velocity is not what we've seen from Mazzaro, and more than anything, the location is not what we've seen in the first 4 starts. And Wayne saw the ball drop. Cust actually came close to making the play.
So for Renteria, his 28th RBI of the year.
There's 2 Panamanians standing at second base. Cabrera and Renteria.
So here's Nate Scherholz. Pitch is low. We're talking about the NL West. The Giants have the 4th best record in the National League, a tie with Milwaukee. So that's what you're talking about. The problem is, for them, the Dodgers have the best record in all of baseball. That one's bounced. Barton has it kick off his chest, and Scherholz will beat it. I think that ball came up.
Yeah. Severe bad hop there. That is a base hit. Chuck did all the official score, recognizing the way the ball did take the bad hop. Can't penalize the fielder for that. Scherholz just trying to move Renteria to third. He did that, but there's the bad hop. Martin took it off his right side of his chest.
Yeah, he did everything he could to try to keep it in front of him. So now the Giants have first and third and nobody out, and this is Matt Downs, the young second baseman. Swing and a miss on a breaking pitch. Downs is the 9th place hitter. So a single, a double, and a single here in the second inning. Downs has a chance for his first major league RBI. Well, the last time we saw the Giants, Emmanuel Burris was their second baseman, but he was really struggling offensively. They sent him down and called up Matt Downs. .36 pitches for Mazzaro, and there's nobody out in the second. That one's hit high to left. Renteria tags. Holiday now coming in, still coming in. He's got it. The throw to the plate is, it hits Renteria and it rolls a little bit away, and that's going to allow Scherholz to go to second. So I guess you could say the ball is not bouncing the A's way here in the second inning. So it's going to be a sacrifice fly and an error on Holiday. I think the ball hit Renteria.
Yeah, it did. Right as he slid and kicked off, and there's the interference that Bob Guerin is looking for with the on-deck hitter. And Rowan, watch the ball hit the runner, and then Aaron Rowan is the on-deck hitter. And Bob Guerin asking if it hit him, which would kick the ball away from Mazzaro and allow Scherholz to go to second.
Well, that's an interesting play. I mean, I don't know the rule on that.
Yeah, well, there's hit him, and then
it did hit him.
Aaron Rowan,
and it hit Rowan too.
Yeah, and then Mazzaro was behind where the ball was coming, then kicked off to the right. Scherholz was not running because it was a good throw. Going to hit the cutoff man, so Scherholz was not running initially as the throw came through. So it's an error on Holiday.
Remember a couple years ago we had a play like that where Ichiro jumped out of the way, and remember Joe Blanton pushed him out of the way too, and had a little bit of a little brawl. But this time the ball did hit Rowan. Rowan struck out in the first.
Well, Aaron Rowan went back to the dugout after striking out, shaking his head, and you thought, well, maybe this is going to be a great night for Ben Mazzaro. Then a walk, a double, a sac fly for 2, and then 2 more in this inning with the threat of another one at second.
now his 5th start. Bizarro, remember his first start, the Major League debut. Struggled a little bit early, but worked his way out of trouble. But this is the first time we've really seen him get knocked around a little bit.
In that game, he struggled. 48 in the first 2 innings, and then the 61 the next 4. But he didn't give up any runs, and the A's were able to score runs as he did shut out the White Sox, come by and shut out. But even though Bizarro might not be facing Lincecum tonight, his teammates are, and they'll take an off night. So you got to minimize the damage as much as possible.
That is lined. What a play at third by Jack Hanahan. Heavily saved a run.
Great reflexes by Hanahan, and a great stretch for the dive. An outstanding play, and saved another run. The Shearhoats can run, as we saw with the inside the park home run in San Francisco. Excellent play by Hanahan. He has played outstanding defense at third.
Here's Andres Torres. Torres walked and scored in the first inning. Worked Bizarro with a full count and then got the walk. Toward Barton. He handles this one, runs to the bag, side retired. 2 more runs on 3 hits for the Giants. So bottom of the second coming up. It's 4-0 San Francisco. Candlestick. Giambi leading it off, and the first pitch outside. Giambi, Suzuki, and Sweeney. Giambi drives one to right, and that baby is gone. Jason Giambi, number 10.
Did not take very long trying to throw a fastball inside, and G opened up on it and gets into double figures. And what a great swing. And you know, it doesn't hurt to take a night off every once in a while, and you took last night off. And
Suzuki to Renteria, and that's the first out. And I think Jason's legs have been bothering him.
Yeah.
Maybe more than he's even leading on lately.
Look at the location miss. It's in the middle of the plate. Molina went inside. And Jason Giambi, put a shift on if you want. That will take care of any shift. Only the fourth of his 10 that he's hit off a right-handed pitcher. And he knew it was gone. He's done that a few times, over 400.
How about 406 to be exact? Look out, Duke Snider. One away from Duke. After that, he'll be shooting for Darrell Evans. On 3 pitches, Ryan Sweeney strikes out.
Batting in the 7th position, shortstop, number 18, Orlando Cabrera.
I can see Jason was pumped when he got back in the dugout. Yeah, probably just tell Mazzaro, hold him right there. This guy is not invincible. I mean, Lincecum is good, but does not mean that it's a done deal.
This one's driven to right center, but Scherholz got time to get over, makes the catch. The Giambi home run gets the A's on the board against Lincecum. So we're headed to the 3rd at the Coliseum. Giants 4, A's 1. The 3rd, 4-1 Giants over the A's. A's get on the board on the Giambi home run in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Sandoval, Molina, Ishikawa. Pablo Sandoval swings at the changeup and fouls it back. There is not a pitch Sandoval doesn't like, but it works. 339.
You know, there's a great catcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates for many years named Manny Sandian.
Same way?
Strike zone was the nose to the toes. That was, I mean, it's very tough to pitch to a guy like that.
Good pitch there, right on the inside corner. 3rd strikeout for Mazzaro. Here's our Subway Eat Fresh Ask Glenn and Ray. Benjamin in San Pablo wants to know how many home runs were hit in the 1989 World Series. A's and Giants combined. That's a good question. The A's were bombing balls out of both ballparks in the 4 games.
I think the A's set a record, and the Giants set a record for most home runs combined. At least in Game 3, because that game 13-7, I think was the final score. And they hit a bunch. We'll wait for somebody to give us the official answer.
Cabrera backs up. Throws across in time to get Molina.
I want to race Benji.
Game 1, a couple by the A's. Game 2, a big 3-run homer by Terry Steinbach that put the game out of reach. Game 3, there you go. 2, 3, 4, 5 for the A's, a couple for the Giants, and Ricky Henderson hit one in Game 4. So the total, the A's hit 9, the Giants hit 4. So 13 home runs hit combined in 4 games. It's funny about that series. They were showing highlights on the board. The first 2 games, the A's had some big hits, but it was really all about the A's pitching. And then games 3 and 4, they unleashed the bats.
Had 10 days to rest up.
I mean, you kind of saw the whole gamut of how good the A's were. You saw their pitching early and they're hitting late. So a very good inning by Vin Mazzara and a couple of strikeouts. Bottom of the 3rd coming up, 4-1 Giants. A's Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by the U.S. Postal Service. Priority mail flat rate boxes only from the Postal Service. A simpler way to ship. Derek Barton leading it off. Barton, Hanahan, and Kennedy against Lincecum. And celebrating the 1989 World Championship Oakland A's. Man, Dave Stewart has joined us. MVP from 1989. Stu, how are you?
Good. Doing real good.
Thanks for coming up. I know there's a lot going on tonight. Great to see the guys, right?
Oh, it was really good. It's really good to see see the guys. I haven't seen Walter Weiss. God, it's been years. And I got to admit, I see Ricky and Hindu on a regular, but Walter has disappeared since he's left the game, and I was really, really happy to see him.
And he looks in great shape, doesn't he?
In better shape now than when he plays.
Is that ultimate fighting he does? He does a lot of
Man, I was looking at one of his ears. It looked like he's fighting something.
Yeah, well, I saw him in Colorado a couple years ago when the A's were down there, actually in spring training, and he's still in martial arts. I think a lot of stuff. So maybe you could join it. Because you're still doing that?
No, not at that level anyway. Yeah, swatting flies.
But still, if you got rid of that gray in the beard, you could probably take the mound right now.
In my mind.
Yeah. All of us, huh?
Dave Stewart won a couple of games in that World Series. Also won a couple of games in the ALCS that year. What was your best memory from the '89 World Series, minus the unfortunate situation with the earthquake?
Oh, probably. I mean, I was real happy with Game 1. being able to shut those guys out the first game. But probably the biggest memory is the one that you see every time they show, highlights of it, which is getting that final out and Eck running the first base, pumping his fist, Tony Phillips. That's probably the biggest thing.
Game 1 of that World Series, it was a complete game, 5-hit shutout for Dave Stewart. And
look at that.
so 5-0 was your final score.
Man, I was about a 210-pounder then. I'm a tuna now.
Well, I don't know about that, but of course that was just the 89, 87, 88, 89, and 90. Now you have to explain. You started your career professional baseball, then all of a sudden you came to the A's and win 20 games 4 consecutive years. How did it happen?
I started 6 years in the minor leagues, so I knew how to start in the minor leagues. I had the pitches in the minor leagues. Unfortunately, I tried to make a big league club with the Dodgers in the late 70s and early 80s, which they had push-button rotation, and the only way I could make it was out of the bullpen. And I lost some things. Coming back here, getting the opportunity to start every 4th and 5th day really gave me a chance to get to know myself again, to develop the pitches that I had lost. I came up with a forkball, a better mental approach to working with Dave Duncan, and a team that if you give them an opportunity, they're going to score some runs for you as long as you keep them in the game. And so everything fell in place at the right time.
We'll continue our conversation with Stu when we come back. Lincecum with a 3-up, 3-down inning. Starting pitchers in the '89 World Series, just 2 folks. Dave Stewart 2-0, Mike Moore 2-0. And you were well rested in between starts.
Oh,
unfortunately,
man.
But
and nothing like pitching on 10 days rest.
Game's won, and you can always tell people I came right back and started game 3.
Oh yeah.
We found out, Stu, that Bob Welsh, who was supposed to start game 3, was not going to be able to. I guess had it been played in San Francisco because he had a groin injury. Something. And Kurt Young was going to start. We just found this out when we were in San Francisco last week.
Man, I just found that out today.
And it was actually Wally Haas who brought it up. And then Greg Koppel during Chronicle Live brought it up. Kurt Young confirmed that, well, she had a little bit of a groin injury. And you saying Kurt's going to make the start. And then the earthquake came, and you and Mike Moore came back.
Wow.
Yeah, but Stu, I tell you, it's always great because the fans, they love you here and all the great things you did, not only playing, but in the community. And, congratulations to you for that. More, great pitcher, but what you've done in the community is just unbelievable, especially during the 10 days, what you did in the Cypress area. So, I mean, that above and beyond. But it's not surprising knowing you and the great person you are.
I mean, you grow up when you grow up in an area, as I did here, that I can almost see my house from here.
You mean if Mount Davis wasn't there?
You could see it.
Yeah, if that wasn't there, I would be able to see it. You know, when you grow up in an area, I mean, I played baseball right there at Greenman's Field, you know, Bushrod, Fruitvale Field, and Boys Club over here on 87th and East 14th. I mean, these are the areas. This is the area where I grew up and learn the things that I know today, whether they're good or bad. I still know them, and I got those things from this area. And so, you know, it was really, really a blessing to be able to come home, play well, and then be able to contribute and give back to the community.
You know, the one thing you were talking about, and Dave Duncan, and he's been given a lot of credit, even now, the Cardinals, White Sox before it came to the A's with Tony La Russa. But what has he been able to do with pitchers? And you mentioned the confidence that he brought to you and the fork ball, but what's special about Duncan from your standpoint and the success you had here?
Well, you know, before Dunk, that I had, I'll name my pitching coaches. I had Ron Paranowski, Dick Such, Claude Osteen, Wes Stock, and then Dunk. And with not one of those guys ever talked about the middle approach to pitching. None of those guys ever spoke to me about situational pitching, understanding what you want to accomplish, how you want to go about your business when things are taking place out there. And so for me, that in itself started the process. I mean, you can have all the ability in the world, but if you don't know what to do with it, you're going to be a 500 pitcher. You have to be able to think while you're out there doing your job. And Dunk really gave me that little extra, and that put me over the hump.
So if those pitching coaches early, you'd be in the Hall of Fame right now, right? I mean, look what you did here in those 4 years, winning 20 every year. But I will say, the stare, the face. I mean, from a hitter standpoint, and I remember the Clemens never beat you, did he?
Once when I was in Texas.
Oh, in Texas, but not with the A's.
Not with the A's. Well, you know, I was talking to Blankenship tonight. I hadn't seen Blanco in I don't know how long. And I was telling Blanco, if it wouldn't have been for him, he was the reason why I got in my first major league fight against the Cleveland Indians, against Pat Corrales. And if it's not for him, I would never have gotten into that fight. And we had a good laugh about it.
That's right. But you got a standing ovation for both teams.
Oh, I did. Ron Hassey told me that, you know, I got in 2 fights with that team that year. The first time was Corrales, which Blanco started that. And then the second time, matter of fact, he started with Allenson. He was crossing home plate,
that's right.
and Allenson nudged him.
That's right.
That started the second time. So,
Hey, Dave, great seeing you. Go have some fun with your ex-teammates. We appreciate you stopping
thanks for having me.
The
on.
MVP
Thanks
of the
very much.
1989 World Series, Dave Stewart. the fourth inning from the Coliseum. Big crowd tonight as the A's, their fans, former players, current players celebrating the 1989 World Championship team. Always great to see Dave Stewart. All around good guy, huh?
One of the best. And during that period of time, on the radio and did a lot of post-game interviews, and it's almost automatic. Stu would pitch, and always accommodating, but just a tremendous person. And of course, when you win 20 every year, you always figure every fourth, fifth day it's my guest on the A's wrap-up.
So you were planning your Stewart questions in the first inning.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just an automatic. What a great guy, though. I mean, just a tremendous pitcher, but a tremendous person as well. And not surprising he did as much as he did during that 10 days in the earthquake. And being from Oakland, he gave a lot back. There's no question.
Fastball 96 miles an hour from Lincecum. And he's got 6 strikeouts in the ballgame.
Time now for Carlos Jr. in your face, and Ben Mazzarlo does nothing except this. 2 sacrifice bunts against one of the best pitchers, the best pitcher last year in the National League, Tim Lincecum. And as Bob Guerin said after the fact, of all the pitchers, he was the worst as far as bunting when they first started to put a bat in the pitcher's hands. They hit off the tee and batting practice and bunting. So he learned quickly.
Matt Holliday swings at the first pitch and grounds out, so 2 outs. And that'll bring up Jason Giambi, who homered off Lincecum in the second. Quite frankly, I think that may have ticked Lincecum off a little bit, because he's retired 8 in a row since then with 4 strikeouts.
Yeah, he was wanting a shutout, I think.
So Giambi got a hole of one back in the second inning. His 10th home run of the year. Number 407 in his career. Make that 406, excuse me. And as an Athletic, number 197. So he's closing in on 200 home runs in the green and gold.
Long way to go. Big Mac at 363.
Rolled foul. This was the home run, and Giambi got a hold of it pretty good.
Well, the fastball, one of the few pitches that Lincecum has missed the location when the sun was shining in right field, and Lincecum still with a 3-run lead.
And he strikes out Giambi. That's 7 strikeouts in the first 4 innings for Lincecum. 3 up, 3 down. 5th inning coming up, 4-1 Giants. days away. Before the game, it's the Beer Festival, A's annual, presented by Bud Light. Enjoy samples from over 30 different breweries. This souvenir mug and 2 tastings for $10. You got to be 21 years of age or older. Remember, the admission is free with your game ticket. Call 877-493-BALL or visit OaklandAthletics.com to order your tickets. Saturday night. Vin Mazzaro has settled down nicely after a rough first 2 innings. 9 out of the last 10 he has retired. And did he go? No. Very close. Rowland is 0 for 2. Looked like he may have went. Ooh, that's close.
So look at good job. A quick appeal to first, trying to get the call. Was not able to get it from Eric Cooper.
Rowland to strike out in the first, and he had a line drive that Jack Hanahan made a terrific play, diving to his left, taking a hit away from Rowland. Way into the dirt. Kurt Suzuki grabs it.
And if every time the Dodgers play the Giants, if they do a split screen of the Penguin Ron Say.
Well, that's a good call. They got not only they stand alike, they're built alike.
Yep. Well, the difference here Ron in an era where you have to wear the ear flap. Ron Say did not, and took a shot the left side of his skull or his head. Fortunately, there was enough helmet.
I remember that.
Goose Gossage in New York.
It was bad. Huh?
Wow. I mean, it was scary bad. You see the left ear flap. You're a right-handed hitter. You wear the flap on your left side, protect the side of your face. And of course, we saw Orlando Hudson, one of the few guys in Major League Baseball, was the double ear flap. Minor leagues requires that all players wear the double ear flap. Right now, Mark Ellis in Sacramento probably is wearing one.
Yes, he is. Whether he likes it or not.
Mark Ellis, speaking of him, he is had the day off yesterday and will be in Sacramento for I think 3, maybe 4 days the rest of the week, and then join the club on Sunday as he will be activated before the game. Looking forward to that.
Cabrera throws out Rowan. So 1 out here in the 5th. Well, make sure you go to csncalifornia.com to vote in tonight's poll question. It was featured on our pregame show. Which is your favorite A's player from that 1989 World Series champs? And again, Ray, we like to say sometimes there needs to be an extra category.
I'd say just circle all of them.
That's right.
Because there's not one bad guy in the group. Great production, especially in the '89 World Series. You know, Monty Moore was up here.
He was. Yeah. It's great to see Monty Moore.
Monty's in town, of course, for this celebration, as well as the A's Community Fund Golf Tournament on Thursday. But Monty broadcast 6 World Series teams.
Wow.
4 world champions, the 3 in the early 70s, and came back at a perfect time, 1988, for the 3 world championships. And I was fortunate to have him as broadcast partner on television in the late 80s. And of course, he broadcast the team and was fortunate to play with the A's in the early 70s.
Well, and also one of the nicest people I've ever met in baseball, Monty Moore.
No doubt.
And you know what Monty's most happy about? Where he lives, he gets all of our games this year.
That's right. Well, he was excited.
Strike 3 called inside corner. Good pitch by Mazzaro. So that's 5 strikeouts.
I think Vin Mazzaro would like to go back to innings number 1 and 2 and have the stuff then that he's having now. There's Tommy Camp as the ball started inside. As Diaz get some good check marks for that call because he came back perfect on the inside.
And he's calling that inside pitch.
Yeah.
Here's Sandoval. Sandoval doubled in a run in the first and also scored and then struck out looking in the third.
Of course, Ricky Henderson in the '89 World Championship, the all-time stolen base leader. And thinking back to the first inning with Sandoval at the plate, Torres had walked, and just possibly the threat of Torres stealing. Sandoval off the plate, got behind. Mazara got behind 2-0, and even though he swung the pitch out of the strike zone, but I think for all these young pitchers, every game is a learning experience. Cahill last night throwing the pitch to 3-2 to Ishikawa, that maybe the next time he'll throw him a good sinker instead of the home run, might be another ground ball. And tonight, you have a guy on base who's going to steal. Can't worry so much about him that you forget about the hitter. That's a movement on this pitch. We saw it last night. Off speed, the changeup, and a good one from Mazara. So right now he's using all 4 pitches very effectively.
Sandoval somehow got a piece of that one and rolled it foul. Benji Molina in the on-deck circle, but there are 2 outs. Giants scored 2 in the first and 2 in the second, but since then Mazara has shut him down. Three and 2. Angels and the Rockies tied at 1 in the bottom of the 4th inning in Anaheim. Arizona leading Texas 7-2 in the 5th. San Diego 2, Seattle 1 in the 5th. Another payoff pitch to Sandoval, and it's outside. He walked it. Pablo Sandoval does not walk a lot. That is the 17th time he has walked this year.
Number 1, Benji Molina.
So that'll bring up Benji Molina. Now the A's lead the all-time series against the Giants 39-33. That's the good news. The bad news is the Giants have won 5 out of the last 6. A's are 20-15 against the Giants here at the Coliseum. Playing since 1997.
When you think about all those great years, and starting 2000, going to postseason 4 consecutive years, clubs winning 100 games, getting the June in the interleague play, sweeping series left and right. So build up a very good record in interleague play. And if you have the same team all 13 years, you continue that. It doesn't always happen.
Well, it was hard to beat as far as the interleague Bay Area thing goes. You know, starting around 1999 when both teams started to get good, and that went right through 2003, 2004. I mean, it was, they'd play here and there to be people in Mount Davis. We're talking 50, 52, 55,000. It was something, boy.
They couldn't see half the field, but you know, they loved it. Got a $2 ticket and then complained because they couldn't see.
But I mean, you had MVPs all over the field. A's, the Giants, you had Bonds. It was a lot of fun. I mean, there was a stretch where Giambi won in 2000, the MVP. Tejada in 2001. Jeff Kent was an MVP for the Giants. Cabrera and gets through, and Sandoval is going to stop at second. So Benji Molina has a base hit. Remember, Benji doesn't run very well, and if Cabrera fields that, he probably throws Molina out. In fact, he does throw Molina out if it's a good throw.
No doubt. He could have stopped and had a sandwich and still thrown him out.
Number 10,
Travis, you know, it's almost,
Ishikawa.
well, it got on his glove. He should have caught it anyway. And I was going to say, it's a player that you can afford with that location of that ball to dive, get up, still have enough time to throw him out. But watching the replay and a good shot that ball just got under his glove, wasn't able to reach down far enough.
90 pitches for Vin Mazara. The hitter will be Travis Ishikawa, who has struck out twice against Mazara. So Ishikawa 1 for 2 last night with a home run, so now 1 for 4 in the series. But he's been a bit of a hot hitter for the Giants lately, so Mazzaro will have to be careful. Sandoval at second, Molina at first. That one rolled foul.
The location this sinker from Cahill. Trevor Cahill, he had great movement. That pitch about belt high, just over the out-of-town scoreboard, the yellow line. So the run the A's would give up. Cahill 7 innings, just the 1 run.
Good pitch there, but just a bit low. We saw Santiago Casillas starting to loosen up for the A's. 1-2 now to Ishikawa. Well, not a whole lot of empty seats tonight here at the Coliseum, and it sounds like tomorrow is going to be a sellout for the final game of this series. Grounded to second, right at Adam Kennedy. He'll flip to second, and Cabrera was thinking Kennedy's going to go to first, but Cabrera took a couple of steps, got to the bag, side, retired. Giants strand a pair. All together in 1989. Sandy Alderson, the general manager back then. Sandy, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Very happy to be here. It's been a great couple of days.
It's great to see you with the group that you put together, huh? Some good memories, right?
You know, you could see with the players coming out on the field that they had a great time together. They enjoyed one another, and a lot of great personalities in that group.
Not surprising that when Carney Lansford was going to stay in the dugout, Tony Phillips started walking as if to say, you're not going to stay over there.
Tony never backed away from anybody.
Well, I bet Sandy Alderson remembers this. September 27th, 1989, the A's clinch the AL West. Let's look at it.
5-0 A's. 1 strike count. Ground ball. McGuire, first base. Run to the bag. A's win. The A's are Western Division champions for the 2nd time in as many years.
Well, Sandy, obviously a great moment, but with a team like that, shouldn't have been surprised, right? Let's get on to the postseason.
I tell you, you know, as Ray can attest better than I, it's never over till it's over. And even in the World Series that year, as well as we were playing, you know, you were never sure that you were going to win, even with a 4 or 5 run lead in the 8th and 9th inning. And I can remember people coming up before the end of the last game saying congratulations, and I ran away from them.
Ryan Sweeney with the base hit. Well, Ray and I have said this many times. Looking at what happened in '88, and then that team obviously being extremely motivated because of what happened in '88, and then you had Rickey Henderson. I mean, it was a juggernaut. I mean, they were going to beat whoever was standing in their way.
Yeah, it was
just happened to be a Giants team.
It was a great team, and Tony mentioned that the disappointment from 1988 was a great source of motivation for 1989. And we did have some injuries early that year, and bringing Rickey over in mid-June, I think, really electrified the team and the fans, and carried that momentum right through to the end.
Really, just a little bit more. You can almost look at it even tougher now with the division series. Back then, you win, and now you got to win 11 to win it all with the division series.
And anything can happen in short series, as the A's have found out over the years. And
keep talking, because Stu didn't bring us any luck. He came up here and Lincecum went right through it very quickly.
Well, Sandy, I wanted to ask you about the Rickey Henderson trade. It happened on June 20th of that year. How did that trade come down?
Well, you know, I can't recall everything from the New York end, but we had traded Rickey to the Yankees several years earlier, and I think he'd worn out his welcome in New York. And a guy named Sid Thrift, who was well known in baseball in those days, had somehow ended up as general manager of the Yankees, and called one day, and they were looking to kind of change the nature of their club, and if you can imagine, you know, unload somebody like Rickey Henderson. But I certainly was interested. There was a little bit of debate within the organization about whether it was the right thing to do, because we'd had our own experience previously with Rickey, but really not that much debate. And the thing I remember most about that was making the deal at a gas station at a pay phone in Mill Valley.
Before cell phones.
Before cell phones, yeah.
Cell phones or any other.
Yeah.
No, that's great. How said it, you know, from the standpoint of being a general manager and knowing that kind of the architect, being able to put a club together and then seeing the whole thing come to fruition and winning world championship. I mean, how did that make you feel to be in that position to see all that happen?
Well, it was very gratifying, but I have to say that realizing what it takes in terms of contributions, but also just the luck involved, you know, being able to piece things together and guys having great years. You know, I just came from a situation in San Diego where we were one pitch away from being in the playoffs in '07 and lost 99 games the next year with essentially the same team. Yeah. So you never know which way it's going to go.
Well, I remember walking from Kauffman Stadium back across the field, back over to the hotel when you made the decision, fire a manager, and then ultimately to hire Tony La Russa.
Yeah.
How much of an impact did Tony have on the success of the ball club from that period of time and obviously to the left?
Well, Tony had a tremendous impact. We were fortunate to get him. You may recall that he'd been fired by the Chicago White Sox and was going to get paid the rest of the season and had no interest or intention of managing again that year.
And then went to Boston and said Dave Stewart's going to be the starting pitcher against the Red Sox, and none other than Roger Clemens, and that was the beginning.
You know what was great about that game? It was Tony's first game, and we ended up throwing 3 pitchers that night against Clemens, and they had all been released within a few months previously. Dave Stewart, Doug Bear, and a guy named Bill Mooneyham, whose son is now at Stanford, and ended up beating Roger Clemens. We had great success against Clemens, and I mentioned that to Dave Stewart one day, and he said, yeah, that's because I pitched against him every time.
That's right. Almost to the point when Stu retired and Clemens was pitching, we said, Stu, sit down behind home plate so he can at least see you back there, and that's going to help the A's win the game.
Yeah,
no, he just couldn't beat it.
Stu had a great record against Clemens.
Well, it seemed like Stu, as Nomar Garcia-Parra is going to pinch hit for Jack Hanahan, but it seemed like Stu never lost in the month of April, and Tony's goal was to get the 90 wins as quickly as possible and getting out of the gate as quickly as possible and win a lot of games.
Well, that's a big double play for Tim Lincecum. Garcia-Parra swings at the first pitch A's do not score. We'll continue our conversation with former A's GM Sandy Alderson when we come back.
Absolutely. He sets it up in the back of the clubhouse, and Booth has to clean up all the mess.
Well, you remember Ricky was the team barber back in those days.
That's right.
That's a scary thought.
Well, and especially when he cut Mike Norris's hair. He started and has looked out, and then he finally just shaved his head. He just messed it up so badly.
Randy Wynn flips one to left field, but Matt Holliday's there for the first down.
But Sandy, one of the things too, and I remember Jose Canseco, after going to 3 consecutive World Series, his comment before the game, or the third one, he says, "Why do we always have to play in October playing the World Series?" And basically you said, okay, we'll trade you to Texas and you don't have to worry about it anymore. But take us through that period of time, a little bit later after winning the World Series, a couple years, but that whole scenario and the way that came down.
Yeah, that was 1992, and you know, there wasn't a lot of love at that time between Jose and some other members of the team and some members of the staff, I would say also. And you know, we had a chance to make a deal that was going to improve us in 2 areas, and arguably, you know, replace Jose with somebody who was at least playing as well at the time. And we had a 7 or 8 game lead, but we just thought it was going to make us better. And I don't know that it worked out that way, but you know, we added a great reliever in Russell, and starting pitcher, and then we got the infamous Ruben Sierra. Traded him. It was easy to get him. It took me 3 years to get rid of him.
That's true. But the late great Bill King, though, just to hear the name Jeff Russell, because of what happened right here when Roberto Alomar hit the home run off Eck, and of course Eck took all the brunt of the whole thing, but it was Russell who could not get the outs leading up to that. Eck should never have been in the game.
But we really felt we were giving ourselves a lot more depth with Russell as a setup man.
And he had pitched well prior to that. I mean, that just happened to be one game. I know Bill was livid every time his name would come up.
But we we made that trade. Of course, it was controversial because Jose was in the on-deck circle, and you know,
you were looking for a payphone to finish the deal.
Overly cautious. I didn't want him to get hurt walking up to the plate.
I'm looking down, and he left the on. I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Well, it's probably been traded." No, and sure enough.
But the outcry after that. So, and we started losing games. If you remember, we lost 2 or 3 or 4 in a row. So I finally said, "To heck with it. I'm going to Stockton." the Modesto team was playing in Stockton for a few days, and so I hid out in the Delta somewhere.
That's great.
All of a sudden, everybody loved Canseco again, right?
Oh, yeah. No, they...
Well, Sandy, one thing, you had the privilege, we all did, to be part of the Walter Haas family and organization. And I'm sure from your standpoint, knowing them for many, many years and still friends with Wally and the family. But how special was that, especially Walter, who was such a gentleman in all that period of time. But, you know, your experiences with him.
Well, I was fortunate to meet the family through Roy Eisenhardt, who was instrumental in acquiring the team from Charlie Finley, and also instrumental in the first many years of the Haas ownership. And you know, I was a lawyer with Roy, and he was a great mentor to me and gave me a great opportunity. And of course, introduced me to Wally and Walter and so forth. And you know, I'm not sure that I fully understood how fortunate we were at that time to have that ownership, but 20 years later, certainly appreciate it and understand it, and I know the fans in Oakland do as well.
Well, I said, having come to the A's in the Charlie Finley era, and as great as Charlie was, if the Haas family had owned the ball club in the 70s, you talk about a dynasty, to be able to win 3 consecutive world championships, 5 divisions, and then to be able to build and build and build with those teams for those years. I mean, that's just the difference in the two ownerships. And what you guys did in the community and bringing fans out. There was nothing better than to come out on a Wednesday afternoon, see 37,000 people at this Coliseum. And
well, the first game I ever saw here in the Coliseum was when I was in the Marine Corps, stationed in Monterey, taking Vietnamese, and I sat up in the third deck, my wife and I, and we had the whole section to ourselves. And I kind of enjoyed it, actually. But I give Charlie credit for the fact that he found some great talent. He wasn't able to hold on to it.
Tim Lincecum back to work, and he throws a strike to Adam Kennedy. Oh, it's great to hear from Sandy Alderson, one of the true gentlemen in the game of baseball.
Well, he did so much, there's no doubt, during that period of time. And
well, make sure you tune into our sister station, Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. Barry Tompkins hosts Chronicle Live tonight. We're at 11 o'clock, and right here from the Coliseum. It's full of A's tonight. Dave Stewart, Carney Lansford, Dave Henderson, Mike Gallego. Again, it's Barry Tompkins, Chronicle Live at 11 o'clock tonight over on our sister station, Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area, and you can see it at midnight on our station, Comcast Sportsnet California. So there you go. Jack Cuss steps in. So the A's trying to make a dent against Tim Lincecum. They had a big chance in the 5th inning, but Nomar Garciaparra hit into the 5-4-3 double play.
Well, come right back out in this inning. Lead off single by Kennedy, gets something else going. How about Mike Moore was interviewed? Of course, a lot of the players were interviewed in the Diamond Vision. Walt Weiss, special thanks to the fans. And Mike Moore, great pitcher for the A's in those championship years. I loved his comment. He said, came back to Oakland and looks a little bit different stadium, which I don't personally like.
I don't really like the changes they made here. He was talking, of course, about Mount Davis.
And then he said, Oakland Hills are out there somewhere.
Dave Stewart's house is out there somewhere. And you know what, quite frankly, and we understand the Mount Davis situation, but I would think all the players probably turn around and go,
yeah,
well, that's a bummer. I mean, there's so many great memories. Sure. And really, the stadium is significantly different than it used to be.
Absolutely. There's no doubt.
I mean, that's the reality of it.
And especially with the 8 and 9 team coming back. It wasn't there, not until 96.
That's
so
right.
They played those years here. And Dave Henderson, of course, loved the center field fans. I mean, he would talk to them, a lot of times turn his back to the infield while the pitcher's getting ready to pitch, talking to Hindu's fan club.
He'd have a hard time now.
Yeah, that's very tough. But the lower fence and the fans sitting right very close to the field, the outfield bleachers.
Fastball 96 right at the knees, and Cust has struck out 3 times against Lincecum. I think Jack may have been looking for something else, and he got a fastball.
He's got the great changeup, and boy, if you sit changeup and you get a 96 fastball, you can't pull the trigger. Molina inside, and Lincecum kind of followed through awkwardly.
He wanted time.
Oh, that's, yeah.
That didn't help.
No, it didn't.
So 1 out. Here's Matt Holliday. Kennedy at first. A's have 4 hits off Lincecum. That one grounded, and it's fair down the left field line. Torres cuts it off, and Kennedy will stop at third. Holliday in with the double. So Holliday gets it between the bag and Sandoval.
The off-speed pitch got way out in front, and Sandoval not able to put a glove on it. And Kennedy getting to third base, but the A's again with the opportunity. And last night the A's won 5-1, but they had 8 different times with runner at third and less than 2 outs. 8 different hitters went up. The runner at third and less than 2 outs. 5 times they were not successful. So again tonight, bases loaded. Obviously the runner at third could not come through, and now they're trying to do it again. And those are big at bats when you have a runner at third and less than 2 outs to try to get at least 1 in.
And that time Giambi laid off the changeup, and it drops low. 1-1 the count.
Pizarro is finished for the night. A couple of guys warming up the bullpen. Edgar Gonzalez. Michael Wirtz gets loose.
So 1-2.
Giambi hit the fastball. He just swung and missed. Same one he hit the home run first at bat.
And another fastball, 97 miles an hour.
Got to be throwing him change up sometime, and maybe even right now he might be saying, I don't care if I walk you. And I have a feeling right now he's going to get a change up. Giambi waits back very well. We shall see. And the first base open, even though they will put the time run at first, I don't think he's concerned about it.
And he went with a fastball, and he missed outside. That
was a great at bat by Giambi, because he had to be thinking, got to get it sometime. be honest, I'm surprised he didn't.
So for the second inning in a row, the A's have the bases loaded against Lincecum. And Kurt Suzuki will hit. Lincecum's pitch count is at 74.
Lincecum's pitching. The best sight you can see is somebody warming up in the bullpen.
And I don't think you'll see that.
No, not for a while.
Kennedy at third, Holiday at second, Giambi at first. First pitch, a fastball on the outside corner for a strike. Well, that may be the main reason why he's so good. When you do get a chance to score off him, it's when he really toughens up. Bounce to Renteria. He's going to take it himself, and that's a double play. Lincecum does his magic again. Seventh inning coming up. 4-1 Giants. Disappointed in the Dodger dogs.
I agree.
They have gone downhill in the last 10 years.
How many years?
10. New pitcher for the Athletics. Edgar Gonzalez comes on. He's made a couple of starts. Overall his 8th appearance. So Gonzalez will face the top of the order for the Giants.
This time Edgar Gonzalez pitched in relief of Josh Outman. He got 2 hits in the game. First reliever since 1972 to get 2 hits in the game.
Rowan Torres Sandoval, 7th inning. Ray, there was some talk that maybe Edgar Gonzalez would start the game tomorrow. Josh Outman does not look like he will make the start, but if he's pitching tonight, that will probably not be the case. We'll see. I don't know if the A's have made any official announcement. I did not hear about who will start tomorrow.
Well, as I mentioned in San Diego, I'd run into Billy Bean, who said Gio Gonzalez was pitching great at AAA. So if that is the case,
that's a possibility.
And if it's a possibility, it would be deserving considering what Gio has done in his 2 previous appearances, both in relief, long relief, and each time he was rewarded by getting sent back to AAA.
Yeah, and he pitched pretty well in those long relief appearances.
So we'll see. It's pure speculation. We do not know what's going to happen.
Rowan bounces one. Big hop to Cabrera. 1 out.
Now, Vin Mazzaro gave up 4 hits and 4 runs the first 2 innings, and then 4 hits the next 4. Similar to what he did against the White Sox in his major league debut, with the exception of the runs in the innings. The first 2, that is.
So Gonzalez to Torres, and Torres wants it foul. Torres is 0 for 2, but he walked and scored in the first inning when the Giants scored a couple of runs against Mazzaro. Rockies have taken a 3-2 lead over the Angels in the 6th inning. And Arizona leading Texas 8-2 in the 7th.
Dave Regatta, he doesn't have to say much to Lincecum, does he?
I don't know what you would say to him.
Just keep going out and pitching.
He seems to have a pretty good idea what he's doing.
Dave Regatta is a good one. He's an outstanding pitcher and an excellent pitching coach.
Count remains 1-2. Giants have 7 hits in the game. The A's have 5. 1 error in the ball game that was committed by the Athletics. Gonzalez likes that big, slow overhand curve, but that one stays outside.
He's got to throw the heater so he can give us a recoil.
Love the recoil. So you really can't do the recoil on an off speed.
No.
It's got to be the heater.
Yeah, he's got to follow through hard and then flip it back.
Well, we've had fun talking with Dave Stewart tonight. Sandy Alderson, the GM from 1989. Next half inning, we're going to be joined by the shortstop Walt Weiss.
The most important guy on the '89 World Championship days.
The glue. Derek Barton has it. Trots to the bag. Torres is retired. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th inning.
Number 48,
bring up Pablo Sandoval.
Pablo Sandoval.
The Giants had 4 of their 7 hits in the first 2 innings.
It's hard to believe the A's have had the bases loaded twice. Yet Lincecum able to get double plays to get out of the inning.
Reach for and hit to left field where Matt Holliday is there. Edgar Gonzalez, a 3-up, 3-down inning. 7th inning stretch. When we come back, the shortstop from the 1989 A's, Walt Weiss, will join us. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Bottom of the 7th inning, and we're joined by the shortstop from that great team, Walt Weiss. Walt, thanks for stopping by. How are you?
Doing good, Kai.
It's good to see you, man.
Thanks.
Bounced up the middle. Matt Downs, the second baseman, can't make the play, and Sweeney has his second hit.
And by the way, Walter, the 3rd consecutive Rookie of the Year, following Canseco, McGuire, and then Walt Weiss, and part of the great teams. What was it? Was your first game, or one of the first games you went 4 for 4 and made a spectacular play to end the game, going deep in a hole and a strong throw across the diamond?
Yeah, I remember it. That's pretty good, Ray. That's a long time ago, man.
Well,
Ray's got it down in his book somewhere.
I just remember I told Walt that's like a 5 for 5. You know, get 4 hits and then end the game on a spectacular defensive play.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And that was early. I think that was 87.
Yeah. Well, here we go again.
Yeah. Let's look at some Walt Weiss highlights. He was a good one, folks.
Well, look at that.
First baseman, number 10, Terry.
Wow. That's exciting.
Game 1 of the World Series, a home run for Walt Weiss. How about that?
There's a lot of hair ago.
Yeah, but you just got that good look to you. So why even mess around with it, right? Yeah, that's great. You know what? I think about you and the unfortunate injuries you had early in your career, and I almost have compared a lot of times to Bobby Crosby, because both of you had injuries early. You settled down, forgot about them, went on to have a great career, and that's kind of what we're hoping with Bobby. Unfortunately for him, it's in his 6th year here. But how difficult was it early to have the injuries, but be able to come back and ultimately have the great career you did?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, that's a lot of my time here. We had some great times here, but I did experience a lot of injuries. And, you know, fortunately, like you said, after I left Oakland, I kind of settled in and stayed healthy for a while. But, you know, the big one was in 91. I think it was my ankle injury. That was a tough one. It took a long time to come back from that one. But fortunately, I was able to go on and play for some years after that.
Was that running through the bag at first, or was that running to first base?
Yeah, running to first base and lunge for the bag. That was an ugly one. But
that's right.
Yeah.
But that's tremendous career, and boy, it was a lot of fun just to be a part, see all those great teams. And from your standpoint, to be on those teams and to follow Canseco, McGuire as Rookies of the Year, and then be a part, seeing that club build to ultimately winning the championship.
Yeah, I was really fortunate to break in with a team like that. I really learned how to play the game, I think, the right way in a short period of time. I mean, they expect me to go out there and play shortstop on a championship caliber team, and it was sink or swim for me. So, and I had a lot of great leaders around me that set a great example and showed me how to play the game.
Speaking of Crosby, is the on-deck circle went in for Hanahan, or if Hanahan was pinch hit for.
A 3-2 changeup, and Barton strikes out. That's 9 strikeouts now for Tim Lincecum.
I can't believe he did it to Barton after not doing it to Giambi. Threw Giambi all fastballs, yet threw it Barton a 3-2 changeup.
You know, talking about unusual, you missed 65 games in that 1989 season, but really, I think that showed how deep that team was, because Mike Gallego stepped in and was terrific. And then when you got healthy, came back, you guys never missed a beat.
That's exactly right. That team was deep, and Tony kept everybody involved, and we were tested in that first half of that season with injuries.
Well, the out is going to be recorded at second base. Mike Riley said Renteria dropped the ball, but he was taking it out of his glove, and that's the umpire's decision right there. When it's all said and done, it's going to be first and third and 2 outs. And Walt, you may have had this happen to you a couple times, where the ball comes out and you're.
He didn't have it.
I don't know that he ever had it.
I don't think he had it. Looking at that replay, it looked like when he came across the bag, it clinked out of his glove.
He never had it.
He did not have it. And Bob Guerin had a great shot at it. And here's the clank right there. That's not a transfer. He never had possession of the ball. And Bob Guerin's got a reason to argue. Just wonder if Mike Riley had a similar view.
probably more times than not, Walt, has called that way.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Edgar's a heck of a shortstop. It's been a great one for a long time, but I don't think he held on to that one.
I just don't think, as an umpire, I don't think you imagine that the guy would just drop the ball.
Exactly.
Because he just did not catch it.
Right.
I mean, you just figure he must have caught it, but he really never had it cleanly in his glove. So Bob Guerin has a very good beef, but unfortunately, obviously the call is going to stay, and boy, that's a huge call. Now there's 2 outs.
Well, if we can see where Mike Riley's positioned, of course, he's on the inside, the grass on the inside, in front of second base. He's fortunate not to have another double play.
Well, if he holds that clean, he may have turned the double play. So here's Kennedy, 2 outs. Curveball, and Kennedy had a pretty good look at that curveball and fouled it back. So Sweeney now at third and Crosby at first.
And with Walt Weiss, and Walt, you were talking about a good crowd. Of course, since you played here,
looks a little different.
Mount Davis in center field. And of course, your teammate Mike Moore made a comment and said, "I don't like some of the changes." Well, I don't think anybody in baseball likes the changes. But what was it like during that period of time to come out here in an afternoon game midweek and have the 40,000 people to watch?
Yeah, I think this park in those days was one of the best hidden secrets in the game. It was a beautiful park, especially like you said, we played a lot of day games. We had good crowds, and it was a great place to play.
Nice play by Andres Torres. Walt Weiss, it's great seeing you. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Scott.
Walt Weiss, the shortstop from the 1989 World Championship Athletics. Lincecum works out of a jam again. Three-game series. A Warrior free agent? Question mark. Gavin Newsom's got a new project, so make sure you tune in to Sportsnet Central. I'm curious about a Warriors free agent. NBA draft coming up on Thursday. We've reached the 8th inning. It's the Giants 4 and the A's 1. Benji Molina, Travis Ishikawa, Randy Wynn against Edgar Gonzalez. I'm sure the Giants saw Edgar Gonzalez when he was with the Arizona Diamondbacks for a couple of years.
It's amazing to see some of the players and Walt Weiss. Talk about great shape.
Wow. He is in good shape. He's been doing some working out. since he retired.
You know, talking to Stu, he was training, and I'd ask him before we went on the air. He was training of the Ultimate Fighting for about 11, 12 years, but he never competed. Because I remember when we saw him in Colorado a few years ago. I mean, he was in.
You're talking about Walt.
Walt Weiss, yeah, Walt. Because Stu looked at him and said he's been doing something. But
he looks great.
Walt had been working for the Rockies, still living in Denver. Of course, he played for the Rockies and Marlins, and then the Rockies. But he'd been working kind of as a coach whenever the Rockies were in town and some of the minor leagues. But he said he is no longer with them. That he's coaching high school football. He's got a son that's going to be in high school.
That one's driven to center, and that baby's off the top of the wall. And Benji Molina is going to make it to second with a double. And Molina missed a home run by about 2 feet, maybe not even. But it's a long double, and Molina is 2 for 3.
And Barton was racing him from first to second. He was the trailing fielder. I mean, that ball was crushed. And how it stayed in the park, we did not know, but it came very close to being a home run right at the top. And Ryan Sweeney got the ball back in. And here is Derek Barton. I'll race you to the bag. Hurry up and throw the ball. We'll tag him out.
Derek, that is a race you cannot lose.
Yeah, exactly.
If you do, you'll never hear the end of it.
Well, that's a good play by Barton to be the trailing defender. But I would think when
Ishikawa drives one to right, Cust is right there. He's got it, and Molina will stay at second.
The only player in baseball who cannot tag on that ball, Benji Molina.
Yep.
Well, maybe his brother Jose. But Benji does so many good things, great things. You know, running might not be one of them, but he is an excellent catcher, excellent hitter. Final year of his contract, too.
Yeah. See one. Giants will have an interesting catching decision next year. They have a terrific prospect in the minor leagues, Buster Posey, their #1 draft pick. In fact, there's an article about Posey today in the local paper that they're thinking about moving into AAA.
Oh, he's
going to be a good one.
He's a star in the waiting.
So what do you do? Not a bad problem to have, but Benji Molina has meant a lot to the Giants the last 3 years.
The thing is, if you make the commitment to him, you have to stick with him.
Yeah.
And knowing that he would be a rookie, Molina a veteran, handles the pitchers very well.
Splitting time isn't going to do either guy any good.
And they wouldn't do it either. And I don't think they'd have to commit contractually to Benji.
That's right.
And you know, sure, for a pretty good salary.
Sure.
So it is a tough decision for them, but decision heavy, of course. Maybe Baltimore.
Yeah. Well, if you know there's a significant amount of money involved, you may say, "Hey, spend the money somewhere else." 1-1 to Randy Wynn. Wynn, another veteran player that will be a free agent at the end of the year. So another decision to make for Brian Sabian, the general manager for the Giants. Wynn is 1 for 3, singled and scored in the second. Takes a high strike, 2-2. Renteria is in the on-deck circle. We're in the 8th inning of a 4-1 game. Lincecum looks very concerned about the game. Swing and a miss. Randy Wynn strikes out.
We got a root call.
Did we?
Oh, big time. That was the fastball, and watch the follow through by Edgar. Yeah.
Number 16.
And in fairness to Edgar, he doesn't do that just because it's a strikeout. He does it, I don't know, one pitch if it's a fastball.
And he probably doesn't even know he's doing it.
No, I don't think he does.
It's not it is not a Dennis Eckersley. I just struck you out to end the game and another save.
So go home.
Yeah.
Couple of hits tonight for Renteria, one of them an RBI double. He also got jammed and hit a little flare down the right field line. His average with the 2 hits right at 250. A's will have Cust, Holiday, and Giambi in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Right now the A's offense wondering what if could have gotten a hit or two in the last 3 innings. A lot of base runners, but nothing to show for it.
Ground ball to short. Cabrera has it. Side retired. So a leadoff double by Benji Molina, but no damage done. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Lindsey come back to the mound. 4-1 Giants. And the bases loaded in the 5th with 1 out, did not score. Bases loaded in the 6th with 1 out, did not score. At 1st and 2nd, and nobody out in the 7th, and did not score. So some frustration and maybe a little bit more Tim Lincecum, and that's the deal. 4-1 in the bottom of the 8th. Cust leading it off. Big curve in for a strike, 1-1. Tough night for Jack Cust. He has 3 strikeouts. Lincecum has 9.
Well, this game reminiscent of the game Lincecum pitched against the A's and Justin Duxer last June the 28th, in which he defeated the A's 1-0. Duxer gave up the 1 run, but the A's had runners at 3rd, nobody out. 4 different times, could not get 1 in. And tonight, of course, the bases loaded twice, the 1st and 2nd, no runs.
And that game may have been even more frustrating because it was 1-0.
Exactly. At least this one, it's a 3-run lead for Lincecum, but that's the last 3 starts. The June 28th, the 12th, of course, this year went the distance. Give up just the 1 run.
First pitch to Holiday. He drives one to center, but it's playable for Aaron Roan. He drifts over into left center. He's got it, 2 outs. Well, that was pitch number 93. Make it 94 for Lincecum. And if he is able to get Giambi here, we're going to see him in the 9th inning. This was the matchup last year, and it was a terrific ball game to watch. Duxer was great. Lincecum did exactly what he's doing tonight, getting out of trouble. And that was the final. Lincecum So 7 innings, so he did not finish it. So Lincecum has 10 strikeouts tonight. That's the 15th time in his career he has struck out 10 or more, and the 4th time this year. 0-2 to Giambi. And that one missed somewhere.
He's losing it. He's only throwing 96.
That may have been the best pitch he threw all night.
Binging and hold it. And
there you go, folks. Couple of strikeouts for Lincecum. He's got 11 through 8 innings. 4-1 Giants.
Every out-of-market game of the season live. For more details, visit OaklandAthletics.com, where baseball is always on. And you know that when you do watch Sportsnet California, Comcast Sportsnet California, you'll see it in high definition. And when you don't, that's your problem. You can go get the high definition box and watch it in high definition.
Ron Washington would say, and if you don't, you don't.
Yeah,
right?
You know.
If you don't have it, you don't have it.
That's right. But you have a chance to get it. When you do, you'll see exactly and understand why we have been raving about it and why you should get it.
Santiago Casilla comes in for the ninth. Very good 2 innings by Edgar Gonzalez. Gives up just 1 hit. No walks, 1 strikeout. So Casilla comes in for the 22nd time. He'll face Scherholz, Downs, and Rowan. And that's a base hit to right field by Nate Scherholz. He is 3 for 4. So the young man from San Ramon Valley High School has a 3-hit night. And probably a decent sized pass there.
Matt Downs.
So Matt Downs will hit, the 9th place hitter. Crosby comes in on the grass. Downs not bunting, and he takes a slider for a strike. One and one. Downs is 0 for 2. He's got a sacrifice fly. That was in the 2nd inning, and that was his first major league RBI. Runner going, hit on the ground. Cabrera throws out downs, but he gets the job done as Sherholz goes to second.
Number 33, Aaron Rowan.
So one out, runner in scoring position for Aaron Rowan. Sorry, Rand, but we should not be surprised that Giants bullpen is empty.
That's just what I was going to say. Because Lincecum getting out of the jams, and
a double plays helped him a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as pitch count.
I'm sure he is able to tell David Rigetti and Bruce Bochy, I feel fine. Don't worry about it. I'll go out and finish it.
Oh, and 1 to Rowan, who is 0 for 4 tonight. Giants will have an off day on Thursday, so that could give Lincecum an extra day. Managers sometimes take that into consideration. Rowan hits one behind the bag. Crosby. Nice play by Bobby Crosby. Keeps Sherholz at second. So with 2 outs, Andres Torres will step in.
Number 59, Andres Torres.
In the 9th inning, A's will have Suzuki, Sweeney, and Cabrera. Sweeney has got a couple of hits tonight, and so does Cabrera. Tomorrow night, again, 7 o'clock here in Comcast Sportsnet California for the 3rd and final game of this series. Randy Johnson will pitch for the Giants. Again, we have not had an official announcement on who will pitch for the Athletics. Randy Johnson with a 6-5 record.
And it was nailing so the fans behind the area could see. Down in front.
The joy of being 6'10", right? The big unit.
How many guys could get on one knee and still put your arms up over the rail and watch the game with a 4-foot fence?
Swing and a miss. Yeah, I mean, if you didn't know any better, you would say, that guy's really short. Torres is 0 for 3 with a walk and a run score. He swings and misses 1 and 2. So 6 innings for Mazzaro. Hey, who's the little guy?
And who's the guy behind back here behind? Of course, that's Raymond. You got to move over, Raymond. You're not in the view.
Raymond's fans can't get a good view of him. Good idea to get Torres. Sandoval in the on-deck circle. Chop toward Kennedy. Big hop. Side retired. We're headed to the bottom of the 9th. He's got some work to do. It's 4-1 Giants. Sweeney and Cabrera. Lincecum's first pitch is a fastball on the inside corner for a strike. Scoreboard says 95 miles an hour. Suzuki is 0 for 3. He hits that one high and foul down the right field line.
That was pitch number 100 at 95 miles per hour.
Indeed, the A's need a rally. The Angels were able to rally against Lincecum in his last start. That was in the 8th inning.
Well, they're not rallying tonight in Anaheim. Now that's Seattle.
Yeah, San Diego is pounding Seattle 9-2 in the 8th inning.
Colorado hanging on to a 3-2 lead.
Curveball, and Suzuki swings and misses. Strikeout number 12 for Lincecum. A's Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Cache Creek Splash of Cash. It's giving away $12,000 cash daily. Visit cashcreek.com for details. So 1 out for Ryan Sweeney. Arizona has defeated Texas 8-2 the final. So the Texas Rangers have lost 5 games in a row. And if the Angels were to win tonight, they would be tied for first place. Tapper off the mound. Lincecum picks it up. 2 outs. And Tim Lincecum 1 out away from his 2nd complete game against the A's this year, and his 4th complete game of his career. Quite frankly, I think the A's have seen just about enough of last year's Cy Young Award winner. But give credit where credit's due. Tonight, 2 walks and 12 strikeouts. Cabrera's had probably the best swings against Lincecum. He's had 2 line drive singles to left. And the first pitch, 96 miles an hour, a swing and a miss. Cabrera, the 2 singles and a fly ball to right field. He's average at 244. Fastball foul back, and it's 0-2. Well, there are a fair amount of Giants fans here, and those people will rise to their feet. But a beautiful crowd tonight, and a sellout expected tomorrow night. So great to see lots of fans in the ballpark. 0-2 to Cabrera. Curveball just a bit high, 1-2.
Well, one thing, might be some A's fans standing and cheering Tim Lincecum just because of his performance, but you have to appreciate a young man who knows what it's like to pitch the 9th inning and want to pitch the 9th, and he just did.
And he did. Another complete game for Tim Lincecum, and the young man is special, folks. That's all you can say. Giants win it 4